Okay, so about 5 days ago? I don't know. It was a few days ago. I did a little unboxing video for a new lens I got, which is actually what I'm using to shoot this video. It's a 28mm 1.8 by Canon. And then I said that at the end of the video, I said that I was shooting a wedding over the weekend, and that I would update everyone with a few images from the wedding, and give like a little bit of a review as far as the practical aspect of it, not just what I liked about the build quality and etc. But beyond that, how does it perform in the real world? So let's get into that little review, and off to this angle. Okay, so we have I separated out 9 images from the that were shot with that lens. I used the Canon 6D body. And, yeah, that's about all I think you need to know as far as the technical aspect. And I just use a speed light flash, so anything that I used flash on, I will let you know, and that's what I use. Okay, so, our very first image. We have an image, very self-explanatory. We have a big bay window, curtain rod, and we have all the dresses hanging there. We have the bride's dress in the middle, and then the 6 bridesmaids' dresses. So the reason I selected this photo as one to review this lens was because I liked the way the detail came out. Got out of our image. I liked the way the detail came out pretty sharp. We just have a little bit of grain, which I don't know, I wasn't too turned off by it. And yeah, a little bit about the behind the scenes for this photo. We did have to move some stuff. It wasn't a very big open space, so I did have to back up. So we had to move a table and a big chair, and then there was someone off on the left hand. It was like over on this side that was they were getting their hair and makeup done, and so we had to move them a little bit. But other than that, it wasn't terrible to get this shot. It would have been pretty much impossible with my old gear. For a wide angle, I was using an old kit lens from a Rebel G, and it was 35 to, I want to say it's 35 to 80, the 4 to 5.6. It's a variable aperture, like all kit lenses. So even wide open, 4.0, it's just not that sharp, and it's not a great piece of glass, and so it just, yeah, I could have got a picture like this, but not this sharp, and I would have had to be even further back because of that focal length. So yeah, let's move on to the next. Let's move on to the next image. So the next image it's not a masterpiece. It's nothing artistic. It's just a group shot. It's a family photo. After the ceremony, we did some family photos, big groups. The one family in particular was huge. I believe this was the one that was huge. This was half. We split it in half. There was room on the stage that we shot it on, but we didn't have like risers or anything really. So we only could really just who can stand in front of whom and go from there. So included this because though it's not that artistic, I wanted to show that it's wide enough. I in past have taken shots just like this before with my 50mm, but I had to be further back, considerably further back. I was maybe 20 feet away from the front of them. My estimation might be a little off, but I really wasn't that far away from them. I mean, I stood on a chair to be up level with them, but other than that, it really wasn't a strain to get this shot. And the white balance is a little off. We're a touch green around stuff, but it's 1:1. It's not perfect. It's not that super sharp, and there's a little bit of noise. But I was happy with it. I was happy with what this is. For as far as before and after, I mean, it was a little dim, especially in the corners. So, I mean, that was just the lighting, though. That's not really the lens or the camera body. So what I did was I put like that sort of thing with the lines, the gradient. I don't know. I'll hover over it with my mouse. This thing. I don't think it really tells me what that's called. I guess it's just a mask. Whatever. So I put it on the side here to bring these guys out. Pumped out the shadows a little bit. Then I brushed the bride and groom in and gave us our highlights back so they weren't completely blown out when I did raise the general exposure. And then particularly this gentleman in the back here, he was extra shadowy, so I brushed him in too, but I pumped the shadows out instead of giving him highlights or dimming him in any sense. So yeah, there's that shot. And our next one, again, the next two actually are the more of like the documentary sort of side of things. You know, I did like the moment. They're, you know, celebrating after the ceremony. They got some champagne, and you know, we have a groomsman here holding a bunch of champagne glasses. I think he had like 3. She had 1 in her hand, and that bridesmaid's just pouring them, and it was just, you know, it was lively. And here we go. She's got a smirk. We've got some smiles back here. Bride and groom are at the end. And, you know, they're out of focus. It was tough. It was a tough situation where we have windows, then not windows, and windows, not windows. So we have, like, bright areas and dark areas. And then the ceiling was a mirror. So it was like when I popped off my flash, it didn't really fill very evenly. But this, you know, this is what I got. The faces are very clean, you know. And so is our pouring here. We're 1-to-1 again. And there you have that one, I guess. It's really all I have to say about that. A little before and after, you know, like, I mean, I can recover a little bit more of this. Again, these are quick edits. I probably will keep tweaking them a little bit, you know, to get it just right. So here's the next one. We have 2 bridesmaids singing into their glasses. And I liked this one because it was a tight space. We're in a limousine, and I was right next to them. There was a groomsman. You can see his boutonniere here. There was a groomsman in between us, but other than that, I was like face on, right in front of them, maybe 3 feet away from them. And I don't even think that it was probably less than 3 feet. It still got both of them in the frame. Was able to get a good exposure off. It's sharp. That's 1-to-1 again. And yeah, I couldn't be happier, you know. So moving right along. Here's a shot. I tried this before, something similar, with an engagement session at a local museum. Now, this was in Cleveland. Our local museum is the Erie Art Museum. This is Cleveland Museum of Art. And out front, we have some steps and pillars. And I wanted to try it again because not only do we now have a beautiful bride and groom in their wedding attire as opposed to just engagement clothing, you know, or casual clothing more or less for an engagement session. But I have this new lens, and I wanted to try to see, you know, how sharp is it, how wide is it. That 28mm versus 35mm, it makes a difference, you know, because I didn't have to go down too many steps. They aren't weirdly distorted. You know, I like the sharpness that it had. I was very happy with this. I could probably pull back a little more of the highlights in this pillar here. I'll probably brush that in. But this is more of a review of the lens, more or less, not necessarily the editing or or what I got for exposures or how I did it. So, just give you a little preview of the lens. So, moving along again. Pretty much everyone's seen this shot before. It's a big popular one on Pinterest. If there were some little kids in there, which we did have a little flower girl, but she didn't join us for pictures afterwards. But I would have probably had them, you know, sticking their tongue out or, you know, making it grow like, oh, it's so gross, they're kissing, or covering their eyes, you know, something silly like that. So, but I just, you know, I was like, hey, everyone be happy for him. Be happy, smile, look right at the bride and groom, and this is just what they gave me. You know, we needed to fill in the space, and we had this groomsman's actually a pretty good friend of mine, and he was cracking me up. He just, you know, he laid down to fill in that space there, the negative space, and yeah, again, very sharp. Once this pops in, there we go. Very sharp. You know, we have a little kissy face here, smiles, a little bit, you know, a shocked face. This is actually a couple that I did their wedding too. So they're happy up there. I just, you know, I really like this picture. I like the way it turned out. And the lens definitely helped facilitate this sort of shot. Being that I didn't have to have them the distances didn't have to be so strange. You know, it gave me a good look. You know, everything stayed consistent looking, you know. So, moving right along, another wide shot. If you ever go to the Cleveland Museum of Art, there out front, there's all these stairs, pillars, etc., and there is a thinker statue right in the middle. He's right here. You know, if you back up, which you can go to the museum, start at these stairs and back up till your back hits that statue, squat down, you're looking at what I was looking at. And that's what I got. Most of the edit here was the black and white part. A little tone curve I liked. I used Yesco, so that's why we got some goofy looking name for the tone curve. Again, it was very sharp. I thought we froze the moment really well. Good teamwork. I pulled back some of the highlights, pulled out some of the shadows that we wanted to get back, and let the whites just take a break. And then, yeah, I mean, of course there's the distortion on the ends, but that's the wide angle look. It's what you're going for when you use a wide angle. It's not a tilt shift lens. So we're not going for straight lines of architecture. It's part of it, you know, it's characterized. So now we've done a bunch of group shots, more or less, and what about a one-on-one portrait? Well, there we go. So how sharp is it, one-on-one? Well, it's that sharp. I was really happy with this. You know, I mean, her eyes came out really sharp, colors came out rich. Again, I mean, I do edit my photos. I pumped the vibrance here. I gave the white balance some good tweaking so the skin looked nice and clean. We didn't have any, you know, I went in and fixed the blue and purple. There was a little bit too much blue and purple in her hair, which photographers, I mean, watch that. You get some browner hair and sometimes it goes purple and it's not accurate. So, I mean, don't just desaturate it. Work at it, you know, put a little effort into your editing. So, yeah, I was really happy with this. I gave it a little bit of a vignette, a very feathered vignette, so that we would draw ourselves into the photo. And I was very blown away with the quality there. And our last photo is another group shot, the reception, with some low light. I did use flash for this shot. But, again, stayed sharp. The aperture allowed me, I mean, I was up at 2.2, and we're still staying pretty sharp here. We do have some grain. It's sort of my fault. I think if I had a diffuser, I do have a beauty dish for my flash. I would have been able to do more direct light, and then that ISO 1000 wouldn't have been as grainy. So, yeah, and as far as the rest of the edit, I mean, I just go for that more polished look. I mean, if we can look at before and after, it's still, I was happy with the way it looked before, but we brightened it a touch, and then just give it that polished look, make the skin look like it's glowing, and make it just more true to life, instead of that flat look that a raw file gives you, which is beautiful in its own right, because then it allows you to have that freedom to fix things and make that how you envisioned it. So, that's it. That's it for that review. Okay, so that was the 28 1.8, and I hope you enjoyed my little preview, some images that I've captured with it thus far, and you know, check out my blog. I'll link it below if you want to see these beyond just the screen cap. I'll put them on my blog, and you can click on them and look at them in more of a full screen setting, you know, and really check them out. Pixel Peep, do it. Why not? You know, maybe you'll look at getting this lens. Look at getting something similar. I really recommend it, and I hope you enjoyed that. Jake Swan of JakeSwanPhotos.com. Thank you for watching. See ya.